Sony's Spider-Man universe has been a confusing mess ever since they announced the first Venom film back in 2017. Then things got even weirder when they revealed that the Tom Hardy films would never feature Spider-Man. I remember how confused Marvel fans were, and since then, with Morbius, Madam Web, and Kraven the Hunter, these projects have only complicated the franchise and fan base. Now in 2024, with the debut of the Venom The Last Dance trailer, Sony obviously has no idea what they are doing, and despite this being the final Tom Hardy film, I'm still confused. They are teasing the multiverse again, featuring even more Spider-Man references, and I have no idea if Sony's finally giving in to audience demand, or they're tricking us once again. Hi, I'm your host Rob, and on this episode of Atomic Vision, I'm going to break down the trailer for Venom The Last Dance, and try to figure out what the hell is even happening here. And our story begins immediately after the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. The post-credit scene is a visual representation of Marvel Studios making it clear they don't want anything to do with Sony's universe, so they figuratively kicked Tom Hardy out of the MCU. When the symbiote blob was left over in the final frame, I truly don't blame anyone for assuming it was a tease for the black suit Spider-Man in Tom Holland's upcoming trilogy, but this trailer has me rethinking all of that. After Eddie Brock has returned to his home universe, still stuck in Mexico, he encounters a bunch of dog-fighting cartel members, and yet again, reminds the audience that he is the world's lethal protector.
Say when. When?
You take me to all the finest places.
I need time off.
What's crazy to me is that the trailer implies that the main plot of the film has nothing to do with Spider-Man again. The Life Foundation is still on the search for more symbiotes, and after Venom is returned to his universe, it seems they have found a way to track him down. Led by Chiwetel Ejiofor in an undisclosed role, it is rumored that he will be playing a Marvel character named Orwell Taylor. He is the leader of a military organization called the Jury, and in the comics, Venom is responsible for the death of Orwell Taylor's son. This tragedy becomes the inciting reason for Orwell to make it his lifelong mission to get revenge and kill Venom. In this film, it's rumored that rather than being completely accurate to the comics, this film will change the story so that Carnage is the killer of Orwell's son, and that he wants to kill all symbiotes, including Venom, regardless of who's to blame. But what has me a bit confused is this shot here where Orwell is collecting a piece of the Venom symbiote from the same bar featured in Spider-Man No Way Home. At face value, this makes absolutely no sense as the post-credit scene in No Way Home takes place within the MCU. So how is he collecting the symbiote in the Venomverse?
It makes no damn sense. Compels me though.
Some people have theorized that this scene takes place in the Venomverse, but acts as a multiversal variant since this bar is more gross, and the bartender played by Cristo Fernandez is more disheveled than how he was in No Way Home. That makes more sense to me than Orwell being able to travel the multiverse. What still has me a little lost is that if this does take place in the Venomverse, then did Venom drop two separate pieces of himself at the same bar? The first time was convenient as it is, but twice is just goofy. Barring that, the Jury are not the only ones after Eddie, since the Venom Let There Be Carnage end credit scene also teased the Symbiote Hivemind. When Venom crash-landed on Earth in the original film, his mission was to discover uncharted planets for the symbiotes so that they could snack on new life forms. But after falling in love with humanity, Venom has a change of heart.
You were gonna take the rocket, and you were gonna come back here with an invasion force. Then what were you gonna do? You were gonna go and feed on a whole planet?
Yes, but it is different now, Eddie. I have decided to stay.
Wow.
And I am getting to like it here.
In this film, after Venom shows Eddie the connective hive mind, the symbiotes from their homeworld are alerted of Venom's whereabouts, and they now know where he's been hiding after all this time. So to make matters worse, a gigantic army of symbiote monsters are after Eddie in what is being touted as the final chapter in the Venom trilogy. Now, I'm not expecting Noel, the God Emperor of the symbiotes, to show up because that would be a giant waste since this is the final Venom film. But I also wouldn't put it past Sony to shoehorn another character in here. It's not like they haven't done that before.
I'm not sure how I got here. Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
Intriguing.
Now, I know I sound a bit salty, but don't get me wrong, I absolutely love these Venom films, but not for the reasons most people love any movie. This is extremely rare for me, but I have to say it. I love these Venom films in a so bad they're good type of way. They are goofy and fun, but honestly, they feature some of the biggest plot holes in any superhero film ever.
That time jump kind of leaves Riot up in the air. What was Riot doing for 6 months? Director Ruben Fleischer admitted that this was kind of a bump in logic. In other words, a plot hole.
Even then, they are just so much fun to watch. The original Venom film had me dying from laughter, but not because the movie was actually funny. As a die-hard Marvel fan, I just couldn't believe Sony greenlit this universe and approved these storylines, when they're capable of making a Spidey versus Venom film whenever they want. So it blows my mind that a complete Venom trilogy will exist in our world, and it will never feature Spider-Man. That's just insane to me. However, there are rumors that Spidey will make an appearance in this final Venom film, but not at all the way any of us have wanted. Now take this rumor with a grain of salt, but the original plot details for this film did feature a gigantic connective tie to Spider-Man. At the end of No Way Home, Eddie Brock declares that he has to meet Spider-Man when he's taught that he's not the only superhero in the universe. But when he arrives at Peter Parker's doorstep, Eddie discovers that Spider-Man is just a 10-year-old boy. This sounds like a disastrous idea and not at all what I think fans want. Any normal person would argue that no studio in their right mind would ever agree to an idea like this, but Sony's track record lately has shown time and time again that they will do anything but give people what they want.
How would you know if you could climb a wall if you've never tried?
It feels like for every Spider-Man film we've gotten that is beloved, Sony goes out of their way to make 3 bad Venomverse films as a way to balance the scales. Why do they feel the need to do that? I don't know. It feels really spiteful. So even if the 10-year-old Spider-Man rumors turn out false, the fact that so many people are going, I don't know what I expected, shows that the worst possible idea is something Sony is willing to try at least once. Or twice. Or you know what? You get the point.
Who the hell are you, man?
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
Sony's new routine in their Venomverse films is to heavily feature misleading Easter eggs for Spider-Man fans that will never amount to anything, and with the Venom The Last Dance trailer, this unexpected guest appearance could mean absolutely nothing, or it's about to be the weirdest reference to date. After everything that happens in the first act, Venom tries to hitchhike from Mexico to Las Vegas, and along the way, a hippie family on vacation picks him up and offer to give him a ride. And if you take a closer look and notice this guy right here, that's actor Rhys Ifans. And if you don't immediately recognize him, that's the Lizard. The last time we saw Kirk Connors was in Spider-Man No Way Home, where he was cured and sent back to his home universe. But here, he looks completely different. Now there are only 3 possible scenarios going on here, and with how crazy Sony is, it could be any of them. The first is the dumbest scenario, and it's that this is Kirk Connors from the Andrew Garfield films, which means that this is the same connective universe. I know we all want Spidey to meet and fight Venom, but not like this. Andrew Garfield has been through enough of Sony's nonsense, and he doesn't need to be lumped in with Morbius and Madam Web. So no thanks. The second scenario is that this is a multiversal variant of Kirk Connors, and this seems extremely plausible. Audiences have been trained for years now to understand that there are variants of all our favorite characters in these comic book films. Whether it was Spider-Verse, No Way Home, Loki, or even something as silly as Everything Everywhere All at Once, audiences finally recognize and understand the multiverse. So this may be a variant of Kirk Connors who never became a scientist. But the question then becomes, why would he be in a Venom film beyond being a shoehorned Spidey cameo? So while this is entirely possible that this is a variant of Kirk Connors, it's not exactly cool. This is just as random as Uncle Ben and Madam Web. He's just there, and that's it. That's the point. So I wouldn't put it past Sony to do something like this again. But the third scenario is the likeliest of them all, and it could just be that Rhys Ifans is playing a different character. He is an actor after all, and this just might be a random role he got, and that it means absolutely nothing. I mean, Chiwetel Ejiofor is playing Orwell and Mordo in 2 different Marvel universes, so this just screams Hollywood gig to me. With the Venom trilogy coming to its end, I can't believe that for 3 straight films, the villains were always symbiotes, and it's a bit annoying that this film isn't changing up the formula in any way. In the trailer, we are introduced to Juno Temple's character, who works for the Life Foundation and has obtained all the symbiotes that crash-landed on Earth in the original Venom film. It was rumored for a while that Juno might have been playing Eddie's new love interest, but this trailer has kind of silenced those theories. To me and most of you, it is very likely that Juno will eventually become Scream in this film, alongside the return of Toxin from the previous film. So I can't believe that the only villains Venom has and ever will fight were other goopy goo monsters.
Well, Mr. Fudge, you seem like an upstanding guy with real noble goals.
Oh, I'm not. If you knew what I did in my free time, oh, you'd be sickened.
I mean, Sony's making a Kraven the Hunter film, and it would have been so easy to just have Kraven the Hunter, you know, hunt down Venom, but I guess Sony's allergic to good ideas. Talk about a missed opportunity. Venom: The Last Dance is going to be fun, regardless of how terrible it may end up being in the end. But like I've said before, these films are a weird sweet spot for me, and I love watching them, even if it comes across as hate watching. But what do you think? Does Venom: The Last Dance look incredible? Do you think this kid is Peter Parker? Is this the return of the lizard? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Atomic Vision, leave a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.
I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please, let me fix it.
How about it?
So I can bring it again.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, buddy. All right, just man, because I have spent a significant amount of time, all right, with one of these creatures up my ass.